We're going to try this again, friends. The internet gods did not like us. I don't know that they took us down. We're just having a heck of a time, a heck of an issue trying to go live. So we're going to try this again. We're going to try to see if we can break down the Denver Broncos versus the Philadelphia Eagles in a matchup in Philadelphia. I'm not sure if this is going to work. We're going to give it a try. We're going to get started if this is at all possible. Oh, right about now. Well, fans, I think it's better. Much better, says Graham. Now I can understand you, says Pearl. Welcome into the Denver Bronco podcast. We're going to start this all over from scratch, basically, because no one heard a dang thing we said when we tried to go live a little bit earlier. It's going to be a little bit shorter podcast. We're going to have to cram it in, Jody. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Denver Broncos versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We're 2-2. They're 4-0. We're brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We're sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets, and we can't wait to get this started once again. Phil, I see you as well. We're going to answer your question probably very quickly, saying we're great now. Fantastic. Good to see you all. You guys are all in the posse. That's all y'all on Facebook, over there on YouTube, joining us live right now, getting your thoughts, your answers, your questions in as we talk about this big matchup, the Denver Broncos. Like I said, 2-2, coming off a big win versus the Cincinnati Bengals, heading off to the 4-0 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. I got my good friend Jody the Judge Moncrief. We're going to break it down. We're doing it in fast fashion because we're going to try to stay on time, even though we kind of missed out on a little bit, buddy. Try to keep on track, and I don't know, we got about 40 minutes probably worth of podcasting that we're going to get in here as we break this down. I'm just going to jump right in, right off the top. We're going to recap it once again. Jody, just a few things that you're going to take from the Cincinnati Bengals victory that you're going to hopefully copy and paste and move forward as we get into this Philadelphia Eagles team that's 4-0, and though it's not pretty, they're undefeated so far.
Well, running the football is where it starts. You ran for like 180 yards. Harvey had his breakout game finally. Bo Nix in the pocket, he looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket. The O-line was giving him all the time in the world. We'll see how that pans out this week with two dominant defensive linemen there. But you have a top O-line, so I'm not scared of that matchup. I welcome that matchup. Get pressure on Jalen Hurts like you did Jake Browning without bringing the blitz, really. You were getting a lot of pressure without really blitzing. Continue what you did on third down. You move the ball well. You do 500 and some yards of offense this game. You're going to have a chance to win, and continue to play great defense. You keep the Eagles on their 50 for a whole half, you will win this football game.
Yeah, I like what you're talking about there. We'll get into the matchup, and we'll get to Phil's question that was from the earlier trial at breaking down this game. Thanks for everybody that's sticking with us and reloaded and came back in. You know, the Denver Broncos, I said it, I've never seen a quarterback improve his footwork so good week to week. I thought quite honestly, Bo Nix went from having one of his worst games to having one of his best games this season, at least, when we squared off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Liked the way that he stood in the pocket, didn't jump around, didn't feel like he had to move unnecessarily, had a good platform, made good throws, and was whipping it at times down the field, hitting nice pockets, and just good placement on the ball for his receivers. It's what we need to see if I think this Broncos offense is going to be, competitive against this Philadelphia Eagles team, and who's, like I said, Super Bowl champs, 4-0 right now. They're no joke. We'll have to be on our very best, in my opinion. Other things that I think that we can kind of take forward, I think you mentioned it as well. If we can replicate getting after the quarterback, getting pressure into the backfield with 4 guys, that would be fantastic. If we don't have to bring a blitz, bring that 5th, maybe even 6th man in order to go ahead and create pressure around Jalen Hurts, that'll be big. Those are a couple of big things, at least in my mind, that really stick out. That if we can kind of replicate from the Cincinnati Bengals game into this next game, that would be huge. That would be huge. But there's also some big, huge matchups. I want to get into, though, what Phil, and just a few more comments as we get in here real quick. Aloha from Patrick Wiltsey also coming in there, saying, you sound great. Realistic chance Sunday. He's trying to jump the question a little bit. We'll get to that one. And hey there from Horseman, from Mr. Roy Osborne, who I'm sorry, I need to get back to on a personal messenger note as well, Roy. I'll get back to you, I promise. Busy day. My goodness, all of a sudden I got the hiccups. I don't know if it's the Lion coffee or what, man. That's all I got, man. That's all I got is Lion coffee, but the hiccups all of a sudden hit me. Oh, but Phil's question before we started this individual podcast was run, pass, even split. What's the best way to victory if you're going to be heavy on the run? Do you think we have a better opportunity against this defensive front of the Philadelphia Eagles? Heavy on the pass, take advantage of maybe some matchups, whether it be over the middle or deep, I'm not sure. Or do you need to have an even split if you're going to take down the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday?
What I'd like to see is a heavy dose of the run, and I'd like to see it like 60-40 run. What I think you're going to get is somewhere 55 pass, 45 run, somewhere in there. But if you're able just to hand the ball off and you're getting 5-6 yards a chunk with both Harvey and Dobbins, there's no need to throw the ball. I mean, it pretty much keeps you out of harm's way of throwing interceptions. And at some point, they're going to have to get out of – they run a lot of that cover 2 high shell and have to get out of that and bring guys in the box, and that's when you can go, over the top. So I think running the ball is going to be key. Hopefully, Luke Wattenberg, who had, a penalty fest last week, hopefully he's got that out of his system, and we're able, because they have 2 dominant defensive linemen, in my opinion, and hopefully they can block those 2 guys and open some big holes, and that will do so much for you in allowing Bo to throw over the middle. So,
yeah, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, 2 guys that you will have to take care of up front. Like you said, if there's a weak link on this offensive line, I feel bad for poor Luke Wattenberg. You have one of the best O-lines in the entire league. And, of course, you're going to have to pick out a weak link along the lines. And it's, Luke Wattenberg button every single week, Jody. But he had his struggles last week. I get that. But, it just feels like we pick on a guy sometimes. But
I'm not going to dog him too much. I mean, the penalties, yeah, I'll slam those because those are stuff you can control. But of all the clips we showed, and you can go back and watch, Bo Nix really didn't have any pressure in his face all game, nothing up the middle. And that's your 2 guards and Luke Wattenberg. I mean, so I thought he blocked well. I mean, your running backs, they ran for 180 some yards. Luke Wattenberg is a part of that. Whether you think that there are better centers, maybe, but he's still a part of that. And so he needs to continue to do what he's doing. This is the game I'd like to see 1-2 penalties at the most, and you control what you can control.
If we're going to be on that offensive side, we got to go back to Phil because he's dropping yet again another 100 stars. Phil, thanks, man. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love, and appreciate the great questions and insight. He says, I would like to see our tight end step up, and that's Ingram, as he puts it in parentheses, and use Bryant, great blocker, for the run blocking. As we look for opportunities against this Philadelphia Eagles secondary or against their pass coverage, is Evan Ingram, is the tight end, the place that you would pick out? Because I'll be honest, not a bad place, but there's a guy that kind of roams that center field for them named Zach Bond. You guys might remember that name. We were all in love with him, trying to get him to come to the Denver Broncos this last offseason. Now he's still on the Philadelphia Eagles, so it's not necessarily the easiest matchup for a tight end, and that's not the only linebacker they have. But that being said, where do you see the matchup? Is if you're Bo Nix and you're going to take advantage of a matchup, where are you going, buddy?
Well, Vic, like I said, Vic runs that too high shell, a lot of bend don't break, so it's going to be a lot of short stuff over the middle. Hopefully, they can design some plays, Mims, those quick screens. Harvey, I like that play for the touchdown at the end. Some plays like that. Ingram getting Nix out of the pocket. If he puts that on him right away, that's a touchdown, and he can run like that. And Pat Bryant, he is a guy that will go over the middle, and he has great separation off the ball. So that's where I think it starts. I still think you got to try to get Sutton the ball, though. He's your best wide receiver and that type of stuff. But I think instead of seeing, these deep 20 to 30 yard in routes and seams and stuff, you're going to see. I go back to the Packers preseason game last year where everyone was just hyped on Nix, little 4 or 5 yard, passes, and if you getting 4 or 5 of a pass, that's fine. 2 of those and it's a first down. What's going to be key is what you do once you get inside the red zone. You cannot settle for 3. You've got to get 7, and Sean Payton has got to have his best set of play calls when you're down at the 1. And if that is just man on man and you run it 4 times, so be it. But you've got to score 7 when you get down there, because Vic will allow you to get down there. We've seen it in Denver for all those years. I mean, this give up a ton of yards, but in between, once you're in the red zone, he was pretty stingy about giving up touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Taking home those 12-17 victories as a Denver Bronco with Vic Fangio leading you as the head coach, because you might have gave up 350 yards on the ground, but you only gave up 4 field goals in the interim. You're right, man. It's going to be tough, whether it be Kenyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. You're going to have to pick your spots. And I think this is really going to be a game of coaching more than anything. I think if I had to put one key in the game, maybe we'll get keys to the game at the very end. I'm going to leak mine really early. Man, game planning when it comes to Sean Payton, Vance Joseph, and the game plan that they put together heading into this matchup, I think is huge. You can't have a bad game plan that you can't adjust out of heading into this game. You got to have all your I's and all your T's dotted. It's got to be a well-balanced game when it comes to the offense. And on defense, you got to get pressure, and you got to keep them guessing. This is a legit team with some legit weapons, and it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to get to a Horseman, and I want to get your thoughts on this. He says, "Evening, fellas. You're playing the best team in the NFL. This is the game where we find out how good the Broncos are, in my opinion. First question to you, Jody, is this the best team in the NFL? And secondly, how much would it mean to walk away with a victory versus the Philadelphia Eagles and, to a Denver Broncos team who's looking to get on track and continue to climb in the AFC West?
It's the best team because they're the defending champs. They're the only team well, I think Buffalo's undefeated, but they're one of two teams undefeated. And it may not look the greatest on paper, but they're winning games because they don't turn the ball over. They don't make stupid penalties. And when they get in the red zone, they score. So they're very sound at what they do. So you need to be the same thing. One thing I heard today, and this made a lot of sense. This is the first team the Eagles are going to see this year that has multiple wide receivers that block and, block downfield hard. Pat Bryant, Cortland Sutton. I mean, you go back, Cortland Sutton, he flat back Hendricks last week because he was blocking. Pat Bryant is the reason Marvin Mims scored that touchdown. Sherfield blocks. You have blocking guys. That is what is opening, what's taking a 3 or 4 yard gain and opening it up to 5, 6, 7, 8 and beyond because your wide receivers are blocking. And we're going to see who's going to get more physical. Are these physical corners and safeties, or are they just cover guys? Deion Sanders don't want to tackle or anything because they're going to get blocked.
I don't want to miss out on this, man. So I'm going to talk about our amazing sponsor, and that's Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been our sponsor from almost the get, but they've been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold for over 34 years. They're a nationwide company, but now they've shrunk down just to your backyard if you're hanging out in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming. They're doing shows all over the place, like a collector's show at the Loveland Fairgrounds that starts tomorrow. So you need to check that out. Pearl's going to be out there. Morgan Trinkets is now on eBay as well, which I just found out, and now you're finding out too. More pieces to come. So you can go head on over, if you can't get out to the fairgrounds out there in Loveland or to any of the amazing shows that Pearl puts on for her Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices, as well as silver, sterling silver, 100% sterling silver. You can head on over to Etsy and type in Morgan Trinkets Co., and that'll get you all taken care of. And now we're finding out you can head on over to eBay as well. More pieces to come, she says, but check them out today. Morgan Trinkets, again, your headquarters, Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices. Over there on Etsy, over there on eBay, out at the Loveland Fairgrounds for the Collector's Show this weekend. Check them out. Man, I'm telling you, man, a matchup. This is, I said this, I can't remember if it was on the first one or this one, or if I've said it on both, but the pressure that the Philadelphia Eagles were able to bring on Baker Mayfield, I think is real. So I think the biggest thing that I want to look at is, A, how good can this running game get started? I saw a lot of draw plays that were working very well, especially last week with Bucky Irving and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think there's an opportunity there, and watch for that. I think you need to get this running game going, like you said, if they're going to go ahead and start to respect it, come out of that too deep high shell and open up something deep. But I also think the quick passing game, and I know that Bo Nix has been obliterated for being the quick pass, the short pass, the dink and dunk quarterback. Well, I'll tell you what, this is the game that you're going to have to be able to do that, in my opinion. This is not the type of game where you're going to be able to sit back there, kind of like the Cincinnati Bengals. And we sat there, we broke down the tape on Wednesday, Jody, and there were some beautiful pockets that had lots of time for Bo Nix to sit in and watch the play develop and deliver strikes down the field. I think those are going to be few and far between, and the only way you're getting those is if you're good at the run and you're good at that dink and dunk. I like your idea about, again, screen passes to the outside, whether that be a Marvin Mims, whether that be a RJ Harvey, anything like that. I think that's going to be a big one. I'd also like to see Troy Franklin get a little bit more involved in this game. I think that he's the type of guy, as well as maybe a Pat Bryant. Again, guys that have a big body and at least one that I know has really good hands over the middle. And that's Pat Bryant that I'm talking about. We'll see if Troy Franklin makes the rebound. What other keys on offense do you think are big and necessary? And then we'll flip back over to the defense and kind of round out this game, get some predictions in before we get on out of here as well.
3 for me. 1, hopefully Bo doesn't go back to being flustered in the pocket and getting all out of sort. He's not going to have the time he did against the Bengals, but maneuver in the pocket and do some different things. I went back, and you can go back to Oregon. You can go back to last year, the second half of the season. He was maneuvering in the pocket, and it was like he was told, "Don't run unless you have to." And so get there. It allows your guys to get open. You have guys that can get open. The second one for me is the penalties. You've got to stop the boneheaded penalties that you can control, the pre-snap penalties, those type of things. Those are the two big ones. Those are the two big ones for me. That all starts right there.
Yeah, no, you're right. Can't kill yourself, whether it be penalties, whether it be turnovers. It's another thing that we can't necessarily be on the losing end of, or on the negative side of when it comes to the matchup. We can't expect to go over there and go in there and turn over the ball and walk away with a victory, especially if we're turning over the ball more than the Philadelphia Eagles are. We can't expect to go in there and have a bunch of boneheaded penalties and walk away with a victory as well. We'll flip over to the defense here, man. The offense is going to have a tough task, but I don't think the defense has it that much easier. Again, we're talking about Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and not just as a quarterback, but as a runner, which gets me to my main question. How do you first come out, at least, and start to play this Philadelphia Eagles team? Are you thinking more man, or are you thinking more zone? And if you're in a zone, are you spying Jalen Hurts? Because that's another weapon you have to worry about. If that guy breaks the pocket, he can beat you with your legs as well.
I've been going back and forth on this. You're not a zone team. You don't really run it. And I'm kind of on the side of do what you do best. Don't change for other team. You do what you do best. I mean, you've seen in the Baltimore game last year, you changed everything up and just got destroyed. But I'm also Jalen Hurts' cheeks when it comes to playing teams that get in the zone, and he's been very bad at it. So this might be the game to get in zone, and hopefully you can get pressure with. You have an All-Pro, D lineman, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, and Nick Bonito are 1-2 and getting pressure on quarterbacks. You keep Hurts back there. Like I said, he's been horrible when it comes to zone, and you're going to trust that your guys can get home and get to him. One thing I am worried about is Barkley really hasn't been getting his running the ball. Hopefully that continues, but he's been getting his catching it out of the backfield, and we have a problem with that. So hopefully we have something designed better than Alex Singleton on Barkley, because that's not going to work.
You don't like that matchup, huh? You don't like Singleton on Saquon Barkley. No, and that kind of gets to what you're talking about. Maybe as much as you don't like it, some opportunity to play zone here so that you don't see a matchup like Saquon Barkley directly on an Alex Singleton, because they're going to try to exploit matchups like that. No different than another weapon that I almost forgot, and I did forget until now to mention, Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is, quite honestly, in this last game versus the Buccaneers, probably had some of the best catches as far as a complete game full of catches in this in the entire matchup. Another guy that you're going to have to watch out for, and when you have Alex Singleton out there, we all know that's kind of a weak link. We just got done talking about Luke Wattenberg and how much we beat up on him. I guess it's the beat up on Alex Singleton hour now. But that being said, I don't like the matchup versus Dallas Goedert. I don't like the matchup versus a Saquon Barkley. And that being said, you might end up playing a little bit more zone because of that. On top of it, like I said, I don't necessarily like turning my back to Jalen Hurts all that much, especially as good as we are in coverage, because that means that if we're not after him, if we're not getting that sack, he's going to break that pocket and he can beat you. He's going to chew up yards pretty quickly. And if you're all manned up on him, that could be a scary thing. You've just cleared him. You just cleared out your guy mainly with a running back or a tight end, and all of a sudden Jalen Hurts has the whole field in front of him to run. Can't have that either. I want to get back to Glenn Ashley. He came in a little bit ago. We were still talking offense. He says, "Good morning, Keith, Jody, and the posse. We have to run the ball up the middle. Pat Bryant needs to see more time against the Eagles as we have to be physical. Routes are going to be important in the pass game. This is a perfect test to truly see where we are and how we need to play to go deep in the playoffs." Kenny Kirkpatrick also came in and said, hey, this is what Super Bowl contenders look like, and you need to go in there and you need to match up against them. If you're going to be a Super Bowl contender, you need to match up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm paraphrasing as we go through here.
And that's why I've been saying I want to see big boy football. You played Buffalo for the first half. You were a missed field goal from being tied. In the second half, they came in and just ran the ball all over you. You have a top 10 run game right now. Play big boy football and run the football and run the ball down their throat and show that you can do the same thing. I mean, it will open up so much other things for Bo Nix, but it will also something that I don't think a lot of teams are they got to see it first, and this is where it starts. So I don't think teams really prepare 100% for this run game. So go do it and run the ball 40 times and just right down their throat like Buffalo did to you last year.
Be nice to see, man. Hopefully we can get that going, man. Hey, even Tampa Bay, Bucky Irving, they had a hard time getting that run game going last week. This defensive front is tough. Phil McLaughlin coming in says, could be a good game for Bo to use his legs, maybe a couple of RPOs. And I thought about that too, man. I think this is a game where you do need to keep them on their toes, and you do need to kind of throw the kitchen sink at them in a few different ways. We haven't seen a whole lot of Bo Nix running the ball, and I know that we kind of maybe have been walking a little bit on eggshells since last year versus the Raiders when he got that fractured back or transverse fracture in his back. But Bo Nix, man, he has some wheels, and at some point you need to be able to take advantage of that as well. This is a week where you got to put everything on the table, and I wouldn't take Bo Nix using his legs more in this game as an option in order to walk away with a victory.
I want to see it be smart, though, like when he scored that touchdown. I don't want it to be like we've seen in some games where it's the first sign of pressure. He just wants to, start doing spit. He almost does like Russell Wilson back in the day, spins and tries to just roll out of the pocket and different things. I don't want to see that. I want to, if you're shuffling up in the pocket and you can see 5-6 yards in front of you, go get it. Why try to force the ball into someone? Go get 5 or 6 and slide, and it's second and short now or third and short. So that's the type of running I want to see, or a true design run. I don't want to see backyard football, him having to do that type of stuff. I don't want to see that.
Well, like I said, it's going to have to be, in my opinion, quick passes. If Bo Nix is running, like you said, it's with purpose. I guess is the best way to put it. It's designed, it's with purpose, not the backyard football type of style. Let's do this, man. I'm going to give you three keys to walking away with a victory. Posse, if you want to join in with this, but what I really want you to be thinking about as we get ready to wrap up the show is a final score prediction. Jody will be thinking about that as well as he goes through his three keys to the game. Posse, get in your score prediction now. Love to get it on the screen, man. Jody, three keys. What do you got, buddy?
The first one, control what you can control, stop the penalties. Third down, you've got to get into manageable third downs. You can't have another, what were you, 2 for 11 or something like in the Chargers game. You can't have that. So right there, that's 1. 2, Bo Nix, continue to build off of your performance in the pocket last week. Don't revert back to bad old habits. And 3, get this run game going. It will open up so much stuff. And Sean Payton, if you have to run, like I said, if you have to run the ball 40 to 50 times this game, so be it. That means it's working. And at the end of this game, if Bo Nix threw the ball 10 times and you ran it for 60 times for 200 yards, I would be ecstatic. I don't care that, because that will show teams a wrinkle that they have not seen before. So a true wrinkle. So, and I guess my other wild card, if the run game gets stopped, get Evan Ingram involved. He's a guy that I think is a matchup nightmare. Zach Braun and their other linebacker. Dean's hurt. So this could be a breakout game if for some reason this run game doesn't get going.
Glenn Ashley says the run game will open up opportunities for Bo to hit the middle of the field. And then once Fangio adjusts to some of that RPO for sure. Maybe we can get some of that RPO going in as well, for sure. He says this will really show how diverse our offense can be. Phil's coming in, not with a score prediction yet. We'll maybe get that in a second, but he says, with you, penalties, with you, the run, and a little bit different take, special teams, in his opinion, is going to be big. And I would have to agree, special teams.
I agree with that, because at
Philadelphia
least
Eagles.
let it flip the field, if nothing else. Solid punts, pin them deep, that type of stuff. No, not missing the landing zone and give them the ball at the 40. I mean, you're 1 first down away and you put them in field goal range already. None of that type of stuff. Be smart with it.
Yep.
And that's why, if this game is a straight defensive battle, if nothing else, you've got to get a couple first downs to at least flip field position.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Got to be staying on the positive side of that. Last game, obviously, we did immensely better on first down, which helped us continue drives, and if nothing else, flip the field and keep field position in our favor for most of the game. That's going to be necessary as well, I think, in this game. If nothing else, maybe not that. I mean, yes, I'd love to get big gains on first down like we did against the Bengals, but first downs, like you said, are going to be necessary in order to gain that field position, flip the field. Pearl comes in and says turnovers, penalties, and stop the run. That's her three keys to the game. I don't think anybody's wrong here. These are my three keys. Run game. The Denver Broncos have to get the run game going in this game. It can't be a Bo Nix show in order to try to walk away with a victory in this game. I can't have 48 passes from Bo Nix and think that I'm going to walk away. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, they need to get going. And even if they don't, you need to stay committed to it. You got to stay committed to it. My second key to the game, run game. You can't let Saquon Barkley get started. You can't let Jalen Hurts beat you. You can't even let A.J. Dillon go out there and get started, because he's got a little bit of juice behind him as well as the backup to Saquon at this point. You can't let the run game get started for the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to make them one-dimensional. You got to make them a passing offense only so that you can defend this. You got some of the best in the secondary. You got Riley Moss. You got PS2. You got Hufanga. Let's go out there. Let's get it done. Stop the run game. Last one, 60 minutes of football. The one thing I know about a Vic Fangio defense, even when they have the lead, we've all saw it, he's going to allow you to get back into this game. He's going to go ahead and get into a shell defense, a prevent style defense, in order to make sure that you don't hit him over the top and you don't get big plays. And there's opportunities to be in this game, regardless of the score. We just saw it last week versus Tampa Bay, who got down big and early and almost came back and got a victory if it wouldn't have been for a bad thrown ball by Baker Mayfield at the very end. They were that close. You need to play 60 minutes of football. Don't forget about that. That's where I'm at. We're going to get some score predictions in. Then I'm going to get your score prediction and my score prediction, my friend. So just scrolling back, make sure I don't miss any here. We got Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick coming in. He's got a 24-23 Denver Broncos victory, giving us a little bit of let's go in there as well. I missed one. I missed one. Ernie Mays, another tight one, but a lower scoring one. 17-13, the Denver Broncos walk away with a victory. Pearl, 24-21, either could win. Praying for the Broncos. She's that's the second time you've done that to me. And now she's saying 28-21 maybe. But that's the second time she's done that to me, where, again, it could go either way. It's all just going to depend upon how the Denver Broncos play this team. Phil coming in. And Phil, I apologize. My phone has went off, so I don't know if you're dropping stars, but I appreciate all the stars that we have gotten this evening, including those who maybe I didn't see. Maybe it's not Phil. Tough game in my heart says 21-17 Denver. Logic says 23-17 Eagles. He says his heart says 21-17 Denver, but the logic says 23-17 Eagles. Glenn Ashley, 25-13 Broncos run the game. Broncos, the run game will be the difference. Our defense will make a statement. And our good friend Peter Johnson coming in at the buzzer, man, draining a 34-13 loss. He says, or Denver 17 to Eagles 14. One of the two. Either we're going to play a really, really tight defensive game, or the Eagles are going to blow us out. Be interested to see where you're at on this one, my friend. How do you feel the Broncos and Eagles play out? And go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I will say if it's 34-13 Eagles, you've solved none of your problems. You beat up on a bad team, and that's it. You've solved nothing, and you're back to square one. So if that's the worst outcome for me. I'm gonna go with it's gonna be a defensive battle, and I have it 24-21. And I'm going to go with whoever said it. My heart says Denver, but my brain or whatever logic says the Eagles. But I see a 24-21 game. And the only thing in that is I hope if it is 24-21 Eagles, it is not another field goal at the end of the game for the Eagles to win. Maybe some of this karma turns around on them. They blocked 2 field goals and an extra point, and they've done all that stuff.
Punt, yeah.
The special teams gods owe you one for the Colts game. Maybe you block one, and that's how you win the football game, and they don't tie it and put it in overtime or something. So
I'm going to look at it like this. I'm hoping the Philadelphia Eagles kind of think of this as, or maybe they're not thinking of it like this, but come into this game as it being a little bit of a sleeper game for them. Home game, Denver Broncos beat up on bad teams, no good against a good team. Let's go in there and get a victory. I want a victory here, man. As Kenny Kirkpatrick, horseman here on the Denver Bronco Roundup, check us out on Monday for the morning juice, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. But as he said, this is what you need to do. You need to go in there and play against good teams if you think you're going to be a Super Bowl contender. You need to go in there and you need to get victories on the road at some point. Can't just be home victories, even though we do have 9 home games.
I'll add something too, not to interrupt you, but no more moral victories if you kept it one score against these teams with winning records. Win one for once.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The moral victories at some point. I mean, hey, if you're trying to turn the page in a franchise and it's at the beginning stages, you can walk away maybe with a moral victory or two. We're past those days. We're past
Right.
those
Sean
days.
Payton put Super Bowl on this team, so moral victories is not winning you a Super Bowl.
I'm going to put my prediction out there. I'll get one more question or maybe 2 more questions if they come in. But I want to be bullish after what I saw versus the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I mean, I know that it was a team that's kind of reeling right now. Hot start under their Joe Burrow, their starting quarterback, but been reeling it with a backup. Denver Broncos got to put it all on the table. They got to have the right game plan put together. I think I saw somebody else put that best game plan of the year type of situation here. 27-24. Let's be on the winning side of this. Maybe we're knocking through the field goal in the final moments in order to walk away with a victory, as Vic Fangio has allowed us to march down the field in the final moments like he's allowed us to do it as Denver Broncos fans in the past. See, be on the opposite end of that. Michael Ronquillo coming in saying Broncos 27 to the Eagles 31. Sorry, Broncos country. And,
I have a quick
got
question.
some orange and blue hearts. I got one question before you get your question. Yep. And it comes in from one of our fans, Phil McLaughlin. Guys, if God forbid we get blown out, what does that say about our team and our coaches? What does it mean if we have an absolute blowout in this game? Does it mean anything to you? Are you okay with it because of the type of competitor? And it's not like, I don't know, the Miami Dolphins from a year or two ago?
Oh, that's the worst outcome that can happen. It sets you back so much. Everything you did well against the Bengals is no one gives a crap about, because the Bengals might be the worst team in the NFL right now. And Sean Payton sitting here telling you that your friend's Super Bowl contenders, that's just smoke, and that would just set us back so much. And at that point, it probably puts VJ, especially if you get blown out and you don't put any points up and it looks like crap and you give up a lot of points, that puts both of them on the hot seat. I mean, yeah, he's turned the culture around here, but at some point you're paying him almost $20 million a year to be this genius on offense. And if you have a Miami game, that's I just can't see that happening. You may lose. It may be close, and they may get garbage touchdown at the end or something, but you get blown out, that sets you back to before square one.
That's fair. That's fair, man. I mean, it's not the outcome I expect. Honestly, this is a get up game. You better get up and get ready for this type of game. And I expect a good competitive football game from our Denver Broncos team. I hope I'm right in that we can walk away with a victory. Michael, I understand where you're at, though, too, even though you're apologizing to Broncos country, putting out there a victory for the Eagles, but it's a close one. We'll just have to see how good we are, and I think this will prove out how good we are, and in a lot of different ways. Jody, I know that you said you had one more thing.
I'll add one thing. You're as healthy as you've been all season. And I'm excluding the guys that haven't played for you all year. Adkins, it sounds like he was full practice today. It sounds like he's passed concussion protocol. Everyone was full on your list that was on the injury list, besides really Luke Kroll, who's your fourth string tight end. He didn't even dress Monday. So you're as healthy as really you've been. So if not now, when? If you get blown out here, Dre Greenlaw is not coming back and all of a sudden saving the day for this team. if that's the case. So I don't see that. So you've got to this is a game where you can at least for a week shut people up with you lose all these 1-score games to teams with winning records.
Yeah, and Michael's saying that that's all that the Philadelphia Eagles have done so far is win 1-score games. That's the reason I think that it could be close, and I think that you could walk away with a victory. It comes down to final possession sometimes. Like I said, Tampa Bay had an opportunity. This is huge. This is one of the bigger games on the schedule. Honestly, you put a win right here, and now you start looking at the schedule going forward. It doesn't look as scary, even though we do have, well, fellow horsemen, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick's Giants and Jackson Dart on the horizon as well. But Jody, let's get some final thoughts. Let's get on out of here. We went a little extra over between the two podcasts that we had to launch this evening.
Just play sound football. Control what you can control. Get this run game going. Bo Nix, keep working on your pocket, presence and that type of stuff. Don't revert back to the Chargers game. And I'll add one other thing. Don't fall for Nick Sirianni. He likes to bait guys he likes to trash talk and get into that. Don't fall for that. I've seen Bo Nix get, the memes last year when his eyes were bugging out and different things and that type of stuff. Don't fall for that because that gets you out of your game. Sirianni's not calling plays. So it doesn't really get him out of his mind frame. Don't get into that. I seen it with Baker last week. Him and Baker, trash talking on the sidelines to each other. And what did Baker go do on the last drive? Go down and throw an interception. So a bad one at that. So don't get into that because he likes to bait guys into that.
Michael, just coming in with depressing news. The Broncos have 5 wins and 9 losses versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL history. Let's put another win in the victory column, man. I'll just say it one more time, man. Get the run game going. Don't let the run game get going for the Philadelphia Eagles. 60 minutes of football. You can be in it to the very end, I believe, with this Denver Broncos team versus this Philadelphia team. You just got to go out there and you got to perform. A lot is on the table this Sunday. That being said, we have multiple podcasts. We have Wednesday when we break down film footage from the prior game. That's me and Jody every Wednesday on the Denver Bronco Roundup, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have this one right here. We preview the upcoming game. We have a post-game podcast. Make sure that you hit the like, share, notification button so you don't miss that podcast as we go live. It's our biggest and best. And, of course, the Morning Juice, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time with Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. We're going to go ahead and get on out here. Thank you very much to Morgan Trinkets for being an amazing sponsor. We're gonna put all our hopes and thoughts behind this Denver Broncos team. Go in there, get a victory. You get this victory, you put a stamp on a lot of different things, including what your future might look like for this 2025 season. But that being said, we're going to get out of here the way we always do. Make sure you keep your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until Sunday postgame, we're out of here. Go Broncos.